Crashing your motorcycle. It's basically the ultimate failure state for the real-life video game that is motorcycling. We've all heard the old adage that there's two types of riders, those who have crashed and those who haven't yet. It's an unfortunate reality of riding and something we all have to make peace with at some point, and for a lot of people, flipping the bird of the Grim Reaper is the whole reason we take the risks to get on two wheels. Now, a lot of people like to spend their effort on preparing for the crash, buying fancy gear like airbags, helmets with 9 types of impact-resistant foam, and even some go the extra mile wearing race suits on the street. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're wasting your money by buying all this protective stuff. Obviously not. I have a great respect for protective gear on motorcycle for obvious reasons. But you'd rather never have to use it in the first place. Avoiding crashes is hard and it's not always possible, but today we're going to give you 7 things you can do to keep yourself shiny side up and keep all your life juices inside your meat suit. Okie dokie, let's start out with the simplest thing you can do. Slow down, you stupid squid. I know you want to go fast, Ricky Bobby, but here's the thing, the vast majority of motorcycle accidents involve just one vehicle. You know what that means? It means it wasn't some dumb cager who pulled out in front of you with a cell phone in one hand and a latte in the other. It was the result of a rider thinking they were hot stuff and lost control, or couldn't stop fast enough, or had to lay her down, brother. The reality is that if you're riding well within your limits and at or around the speed limit, your chances of crashing are drastically reduced. I mean, you might still get struck by lightning, or maybe you'll spontaneously combust, or maybe a butterfly in Africa spooks a rhino which runs across the ocean just to take its rage out on you, but you're not going to lose control of the bike. Let's face it, part of the fun of riding a motorcycle is going fast around a corner. It's leaning over far and powering out and pretending you're Rossi or doing a wheelie, but that's the kind of behavior that makes you overcook it into a corner, brake way later than you probably should have, or hit the throttle too soon. Man, if only there were these places where you could do that, somewhere where there weren't speed limits or cops. They could even have it be a loop so that you could easily run it over and over again and learn all the corners so you can go as fast as humanly possible. That'd be really cool. Maybe I should patent that idea. I'd make a good amount of money doing that. The next thing on the list is perhaps the most humiliating thing you could do on a motorcycle, but it's very effective at reducing the likelihood of someone running into you while you're on a motorcycle. It's wearing high-vis gear. Yes, I know this is the second thing in a row that most riders would rather cut a testicle off than actually do, but hey, it does work. Think about it. If it's rainy out and you're riding around on your black motorcycle in all black gear, what are the odds that someone who probably doesn't look for riders in the first place is going to see you when they do a head check before changing lanes? Do you have to run out and get a radiation green vest with reflective stripes brighter than the light of 1,000 suns like the average BMW dad? No, but at the very least, you should probably work in some reflective strips into your gear, or wear contrasting colors to make you easier to spot. Instead of an all-black colorway for your helmet, maybe think about one with some bright colors or even an all-white one. It'll be cooler in the summer months, and it'll make you easier to spot at the same time. Your jacket's another perfect opportunity to make you noticeable. Grab one with some color to it, something eye-catching. Not only will you feel like a cool motorcycle Power Ranger, but you'll be making it easier for car drivers to see you. I know some people are already typing that loud pipes are a great option, but those people are smooth-brained subhumans that don't understand how the physics of sound works. Do not be like them. Did my previous statement make you angry? Do you need to take out your rage on something? Well, instead of picking up that katana you bought on eBay because you thought it was cool and chopping up some tatami mats like a weeb, pick up a kitchen knife and chop up some veggies. That's right, there's nothing more satisfying than going ham on an onion and reducing it to tiny pieces, then throwing it into a pan to roast while you laugh menacingly. But yeah, cooking meals is so much work. I have to find a recipe, then put on pants and go to the store and buy the stuff and go all the way back home. That's where HelloFresh comes in. They make cooking at home easy by delivering everything you need for delicious meals straight to your door. You get to pick the meals you want, and then they provide all the ingredients and the recipe. The food shows up in a climate-controlled box so you know it's fresh, and all you have to do is prepare it. Josh has been using their service for months and was actually super excited about this deal because he loves it. The recipes are so easy that he ran home to make us these great meals for filming, and he was back in the shop so soon we thought he went through a drive-thru. HelloFresh has really hooked it up for our fans as a new sponsor on Yammy Noob. Go to HelloFresh.com and use the code YammyNoob16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 surprise gifts. You heard that right, 16 free meals and more when you go to HelloFresh.com and use the code YammyNoob16. Thanks again to HelloFresh for supporting today's video. Number 3, replace your tires. Let's be real, how many of you are rolling around on your factory tires or on rubber that's done too many miles? Do you see the cords in the center of your tire, or are there a bunch of plugs in your tire? How about cracks in the carcass? If the answer to any of those questions is yes, then you're probably a lot closer to a wreck than you think. Tires are the only part of your motorcycle aside from the kickstand that's designed to touch the ground, and they do a lot more than simply allow your bike to travel through time and space. The sipes on street tires help eject water from the contact patch, meaning you don't instantly get splattered when you try to turn in the wet. The grippy edge bands have softer rubber, giving you a better feel on the side of the tire, tell you what's going on mid-lean. The middle of the tire has a tougher rubber so that it lasts longer when you're cruising down the highway. All that being said, your tire does not age uniformly. Most of us aren't using the entirety of the tire to its fullest, and in most cases, the center band wears out before anything else. As the middle of your tire wears out faster than the rest, it negatively impacts the handling on your bike. It might handle funny in the best case, or in the worst case, it might cause your bike to throw a tank slapper at high speed. That could result in soiled undergarments or you imitating Marc Marquez and launching yourself into low Earth orbit. There's usually no middle ground. It's also possible that cheapo tires that came with the bike are made of super hard rubber and handle like crap, giving up way sooner than a proper tire might when pushed. Regardless, don't skip on tires, my dudes. It could actually save your life. Oh, and don't forget to keep them at the proper pressures. That is super important. Another maintenance item that can keep you from crashing is maintaining your throttle cables and pivot point. On the giveaway Gixxer 1000 we've got right now, the throttle cables aren't in the best shape, meaning that when you're riding along, you have to force the throttle all the way closed in order for the bike to properly engine brake. It's hard to explain why that's a problem, since engine braking is one of those things you just always experience in a car or a bike, but just imagine you're riding, planning to go into a turn, and you roll off, and before you touch the brake, the bike just continues into the corner at its current speed. It drastically changes the mental calculus that you're doing as you enter a corner, increasing your stopping distance, even if by just a few feet. But even if your throttle cables and throttle tube are properly lubed, you could still encounter problems that cause you to crash. Let's say you're an ADV boy who's got bark busters on your handlebars. You install them so they're sitting nice and flush with your throttle tube with just enough space to move freely. What happens if you drop the bike and the bark buster moves further into the handlebar? When you go to open the throttle, it'll be harder and it might not close properly. It should be obvious that you need to keep an eye on your throttle setup, but you'd be surprised how many people don't. It's not hard, and much like the tires, it could save your life. Number 5, look where you're going. No duh, right? Yeah, I'd like to think so, but target fixation wouldn't be a thing if people didn't do it. The problem with not looking through a corner properly is that humans naturally steer where they're looking. I mean, it makes sense. Why would you go in a direction you're not looking in? If you're mid-corner and you need to be looking through all the way in the corner so you know what's coming up. If the corner's getting tighter, you should probably be slowing down. If it's straightening out, you can safely add speed. And if there's an old lady crossing the street, you're required by law to shift down and take aim for style points. Side note, YamiNoob does not recommend nor instruct its viewers to hit pedestrians for extra points. You should always yield the right of way unless that pedestrian is currently espousing the virtues of the Gixxer 250, in which case they need to be eliminated with extreme prejudice. Looking where you're going doesn't just apply to cornering. Even when you're riding down a straight road, you should be looking ahead and seeing where you're going. You never know when someone is just going to jam on their brakes, or a senior citizen might fling themselves from the curb right in front of you. That's a real problem, you know. This works well as the first tip with slowing down. The more lead time you have to dodge an obstacle in the way, the more likely you are to safely avoid it. Number 6 applies both to the street and the track days, and that's to not ride competitively. This is one that affects dudes a lot more than dudettes, since men are cursed with fragile egos that need constant massaging to prove they're the bestest. This usually results in guys racing away from stoplights, trying to make it through a corner faster than their buddy, or just pushing a little too hard. It's very hard to suppress the monkey brain that we have and keeping yourself from trying to flex. It doesn't even have to be racing another biker. Maybe a car cuts you off and you want to educate that normie on the harsh reality that your motorcycle is better than their stupid V6 Mustang from the mid-2000s. Whatever you feel that demon sitting on your shoulder edging you on, you need to take a deep breath and tell it to piss off. I wasn't kidding earlier when I said that this applies to track days, by the way. When you're at a track day, you're not there to prove you're the fastest. You cannot win a track day. The best thing that can happen to you is that you beat your personal best, and that's only going to come from practice and knowledge by not trying to chase someone down and running wide into a turn or jamming on the brakes and high-siding yourself into the gravel trap. Take it easy. Lastly, and perhaps most obviously, don't drink and ride. Those two things never ever mix. You might think that this is just a bunch of bar-hopping Harley pirates that do this, but sport bike riders are just as guilty. Also, while younger riders tend to not drink and ride as much as old timers, they're not completely innocent either. It doesn't matter how good you are on two wheels, booze and bikes go together like peanut butter and gooch juice. It can be tough to separate sometimes, given how often bike nights are held at a bar, or how often there's almost always booze for sale at rallies and events, but you must remain strong, young squid. One beer is probably not enough to instantly cause you to swerve like a pirate without sea legs, but it's a lot like lead in the water. There's no safe level. Just remember to be responsible, my dudes. Fact: fish cough. What? Not every fact needs to be some long, drawn-out thing about how someone did something sometime in some place. That's all you're getting. I'm serious. Cut to the outro. Goodbye.